Hello, this is Miss Pat from San Luis Public Library. This week in Science Scouts, we're going to learn about meteors and shooting stars, because right now, if you look up in the sky, you can see some. You might have to stay up a little late, maybe close to about 11 p.m., but you can see some shooting stars. So our book today is called On the Night of the Shooting Star by Amy Hest. Bunny and Dog live on opposite sides of the fence. Bunny's house is blue. A sign on the mailbox is Bunny House, private. Inside are a table for dining, a bed for sleeping, a lamp for reading, and cocoa. Lots and lots of cocoa. Dog's house is red. A sign on the door says, Dog here, do not disturb. Inside are a table for dining, a bed for sleeping, a lamp for reading, and biscuits. Lots and lots of biscuits. Every morning, first thing, Bunny looks through the fence and the tall grass at Dog. And every morning, first thing, Dog looks through the fence and the tall grass at Bunny. No one says hello, or hi, or nice to see you today. Bunny hops and nibbles all through the day. She plants a carrot seed here and there and peeks at Dog. When night comes, she sips cocoa in bed and reads. Now and then she checks on the light in the window of the little red house. Dog skips and sniffs all through the day. He hides his ball and digs it up and peeks at Bunny. When night comes, he munches biscuits in bed and reads. He checks on the light in the window of the little blue house. Seasons come, seasons go. No one says hello, or hi, or how are you? One sleepless night, Bunny goes out to the gate to watch the stars above the little red house, Dog's house. Dog needs a friend, she thinks. Who could be Dog's friend? The stars are dim, but beautiful that night. On the other side of the fence, that very night, Dog watches the moon above the little blue house, Bunny's house. Bunny needs a friend, he thinks. Who could be her friend? The moon is beautiful, and the stars. All at once, the night sky brightens. A shooting star. And then it is gone. Dog looks at Bunny. Bunny looks at Dog. They had seen a shooting star, but now it's gone. Back in the little blue house, Bunny lies under the table and thinks about Dog and their shooting star. She thinks for a long time. In the little red house, Dog sits on the chair and thinks about Bunny and their shooting star. He thinks for a long time. On the night of the shooting star, 2 doors open. Bunny carries cocoa in cups carefully to the fence, where Dog is waiting with a basket full of biscuits. I could be your friend, says one. Yes, please, says the other. They get to work digging a hole under the fence. In time, it is just the right size for one to slip through, and just the right size for the other. The cocoa was hot, the biscuits sublime. They had seen a shooting star, and now it was gone. But for the rest of their days and nights, Bunny and Dog are exceptional friends. Okay, so it doesn't tell us too much about a shooting star. So let's see what a shooting star really is. Right, because some of you may not have seen one. Although if you've been looking up in the sky lately, you might have seen a lot of them because sometimes they come more than once. All right, so what is a shooting star? Is it a meteor or a meteorite? Because you'll hear about meteor showers. That's what it is right now. It's a meteor shower. That's a shooting star. So these two people here are looking at one. It's a meteor, which looks like a shooting star. But actually, if you find out on the peak day, you might see 10 to 20 of them in an hour. Right? When they hit the ground, though, they're going to make a hole or a crater. Okay, so these are round, bowl-shaped depressions surrounded by a ring of some sort. They are made when a meteorite hits a planet or a moon. Each surface is impacted or hits the surface of the moon. That's actually what all those little shapes are that you see up there, and why people think it's made out of cheese. It's because there's holes on it, right? Like that left side picture here, this is the moon. All those little circles are because something hit it. This is Earth. This is where something hit Earth. On Earth, we don't see as many impact craters, right? First, mostly the meteoroids will burn up in the space. They'll burn up in the atmosphere as they come down. You've all seen cartoons where everything gets hot and it's coming into the ground, right? It's coming down, coming down, coming down. It's kind of on fire. Well, that's what happens to those rocks. Those space rocks start burning up, and they get smaller and smaller and smaller. Right? When we see a shooting star during a meteor shower, that's them burning up. Right? So they may not hit the ground because they're going to be all gone before they do. Second, the impact craters from the meteors could be changed by earthquakes and the continents moving, or erosion from wind and rain, right? Because it makes that little hole, think of these little holes here on the moon. Now we got the wind blowing in, and we got rain knocking down. If you've ever built a sandcastle on a beach, you know it's not there the next day, right? The ground changes. So there is no atmosphere, however, on the moon. So nothing burns up. The falling meteors don't burn up, and there's no weather on the moon to erode it away. So these craters will stay on the moon. In fact, the footprints from our astronauts are still there because there's nothing to make them go away. Whereas you can see here, this is kind of in the water and on land. And it's kind of changing, isn't it? All right, the craters on both the moon and the Earth come in many different sizes. Some are very deep, some are not so deep, they're shallow. So let's hypothesize. If meteorites hit with different speeds, they'll create craters with different depths and sizes. Do you think that's true? If it comes in nice and slow versus nice and fast, do you think that'll make a difference in the size of the hole? Maybe speed's not the only thing we have to check. Maybe it's the size of the meteorite, right? And to test this, we might use different sizes. They have to be almost round though, so we're not using flat things. We're not like dropping a water bottle cap because that's flat. Okay, so we want to use something that's round. So here they got like an apple or a tomato, tennis ball, a little round bouncy ball. It's little round things. Right, the Perseids are, which peaked, unfortunately, they peaked about a week ago on the 12th and the 13th of August. You could have seen 80 meteors per hour. Right, so if you went outside at the right time, you would have seen about 80 shooting stars, kind of like this picture. And that's because the Earth is passing through the trail of the comet, Swift-Tuttle. right? This meteor shower, though, comes every August. So if you guys remember, you can go ahead and look next August. Find out when the peak is, and you guys can go out and see lots and lots of shooting stars. However, we do have another meteor shower coming up. Okay, this one's going to be in October, right? October 20th to the 21st, and it's going to come from the remnants of Halley's Comet. Again, as our Earth goes around the sun, a comet has already crossed the path of our orbit. So we're kind of going through the leftovers, and that's what's being pulled into our gravity and burning up. Remember, these shooting stars are just burning up space rocks, right? There was one, though, on August 13th this year that got caught on a webcam from a resort out in Utah. And the people heard a sonic boom and then started checking cameras because they heard this boom and they thought there was a major crash. And this thing right here in the circle, that's a meteor coming in. Like that was in the afternoon on August 13th. And because it was coming in so fast, it created that noise, just like planes do sometimes, right? You might hear a plane, but you hear it over here and you see it over there because it's going so fast. So this thing created such a sonic boom. It was traveling so fast that they could hear it. Not necessarily, they are looking to see if any of the pieces did fall down. And there's one crater that's near us, right? There is a crater. Much of it is buried underneath the Chesapeake Bay. Okay, and the Chesapeake Bay is between Virginia and DC. So it's about 1,000 feet deep. And you can see in this red line, this is how big the crater was. So the impact site was probably right around here, right at the tip of Maryland. But the crater, because when it hits, it's going to blow up all the ground around it or push the ground around it. So the crater goes all the way out here into Virginia, into the ocean, into parts of Maryland. Okay, it's about 1,000 feet down. Now, we can only see it because we've sent cameras down looking for it. Because right now it's buried underwater and the water's moving. And that means eventually that crater isn't going to be there, is it? But again, that doesn't happen on the moon. So if you guys come into the library, and we still have some kits available, or if you want to just do this at home, you get a little flat plate, or you can even get a big cookie tray. And you're going to get some little flour. Okay, I got some flour. I'm going to put some on here. I'll show you what we're doing. I'm going to spread this out. I didn't put all the flour on here that I had. But if you got a cookies tray, you know, you want to kind of, don't want to leave any openings. You don't want to leave like that. Okay. So this is going to kind of be the ground. You're going to get a paper towel. Trying to do this without spilling what I know is in there. So these are going to have chocolate sprinkles in there. They're not for eating, but I'm sure some of you will. And they're not bad, so that's okay. But I want you to kind of sprinkle it over it. This is kind of making another layer just to show.
Okay, and you can do the whole thing. And I'm going to have some cracker crumbs for a different color. I want you to sprinkle those over it. Okay, I am going to pick out the bigger cracker crumbs because they didn't get crushed very well. So now, and again, this is just to show kind of layers, right? And you can do these with different things at home. I will give you a couple of rocks and marbles that you can try this with. Okay, so you'll get a rock, and you'll get a marble. Mostly because the rock is actually heavier, but the marble is a little bit bigger. So I'm also going to try it with an Orby, which is made out of water, so it's not very heavy at all. Let's see. And I'm only going to drop it from about here. I'm going to pick this up just a tad so you can kind of see, right? And you really can't tell that it left any marks. Even if I drop it over here in just the flour, now you might be able to see it left a little circle, kind of like a little donut shape, but not a lot. I'm going to go with my rock. And again, you can do it all the same height. You can do it outside and just whale it down, really hard. You can go at an angle, see what happens. Okay, so maybe I'll go at an angle. Ooh, well, we know that some of the stuff moved. And I kind of got some things there. So here's my marble. Ooh, he's still there, so let's see. If I pull him up, I can see the crater there. But if I go from really up high on top of my sprinkles and all, ooh, look at that. I left a really big crater there, didn't I? Now this is a very heavy magnetic marble. Okay, so I can kind of go from the same height as all the other ones initially, right? He leaves a big mark. And then if I go from really high up, and I'm not whizzing him, okay, I'm just dropping him. I'm just going up high. Oh, and that came off my plate and all over the place. So you see the size of the crater. So maybe it does depend on the weight, right? Or the density of the meteor that's hitting, the size, because this one hit really big, right? And it's all over because I've got some cracker crumbs and sprinkles all over here. And the fact that it got all the way down there means it actually hit deep. So you guys can kind of test that out. I suggest if you're doing it with the flour, you do it outside. We're definitely on a counter. Obviously, if you're going to be whizzing, those rocks down, right? If you're going to take it and just go, wham, don't do it inside because this is going to make a big mess all over the floor. Flour on the floor is very slippery. Then you'll be the next thing to fall. We don't want that, right? So you might want to do this outside. Again, if you do it on a cookie sheet, you could drop a whole couple of them, right? Drop a bag of marbles, couple of, just to kind of pour them out, see what happens. And you might end up, and if you just do the flour, okay, I'm going to try just the flour for a minute. Out all those sprinkles and colors and whatnot. You might see something that looks very similar to what the moon is. Yes, I know there are some sprinkles in here. Okay, so again, I'm going to take my here's my Orby. There's my rock. There's the marble. Here's my giant marble. Okay, and these kind of leave crater marks, just like you see on the moon. Notice with the colors though, like on Earth, because we have grass and different colored dirt and plants and leaves and a whole lot of stuff on the ground. Ours aren't so easy to see, are they? But on the moon they are. So you guys can kind of play with this and go out and enjoy looking up at the sky. And if you want to, just like Bunny and Dog, you can kind of make a wish on a shooting star. They don't come true all the time, guys, because they're just falling space rocks. But people used to think that if you made a wish on a shooting star, it would come true. It is very nice to see. And there'll be more in October or next August every year. So, and I'll see you guys next week. Hope you guys are all enjoying your trip back to school. Bye.